This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation joining us on Mondays. We appreciate his time as always. Mike, it was a good weekend to be a Razorback. Basketball got a commit. They got Darian Ford coming back. Football's got the spring game on Saturday. Baseball wins another series, and it's always fun to beat Ole Miss. So where should we start? I'll let you choose that.
I'll probably start with that Ole Miss series. I mean, you know, they've now moved ahead of LSU largely because of who LSU played over the weekend. But you got a one-game lead in the West now. I don't think a lot of people thought that would happen at any point. As good as LSU is, I figure they'll still remain number one. But, you know, I've had people send me questions on Ask Mike, why did we struggle to win a series against a team with one SEC win? I just don't think a lot of people understand how good the SEC is, how balanced it is. I don't care if Ole Miss right now is at the bottom. A lot of it's who they played. You know, they played Vanderbilt, they played Florida, they played A&M, they played Arkansas. I expect them to move up a little bit as the season progresses. You know, they matched up pretty well statistically with Arkansas going in. They had a little bit better team batting average, a little bit better fielding percentage. The ERA was a little favored Arkansas. But I knew it would be tough. And Ole Miss does love to beat Arkansas, and Arkansas loves to beat them. And as DVA said at the end of this thing on Saturday, it was another gut check. I mean, they had to do some things you didn't think would happen in order to win it, especially, you know, once again, Gage Wood, this time he goes 3 innings. I mean, he's starting to move, you know, first he's going 4 batters, now he's going 9 batters. I mean, this is starting to look pretty good. So overall, and especially with the weekend that Caleb Cali had, I mean, he's really coming back now. I mean, this he's hitting home runs, he's stealing bases, he's making plays at third base, saving runs. He just did it all.
Yeah, it's like we've had questions about third base. We've had questions about back of the bullpen after the injuries to Cody Frank and Brady Tygart. Those questions are now being answered, and in a positive way. Because I think Cali was the best player Arkansas had this last weekend. To see Gage Wood not just close a game against Ole Miss, but for 3 innings, and then the week before it was against 4 veteran hitters with Alabama. It's you're seeing this. I don't even think they've played as well as they can right now. I think there still could be another gear for this team as some of these players and younger pitchers kind of get more comfortable with the roles that they're serving in right now.
Yeah, I think the real potential is with that lineup. There's 7 power hitters in that, 7 guys that can hit the long ball in that lineup. And I mean, you may even go with 8 if you throw the catcher in there. I mean, he can hit. But I mean, you talk about some of these guys that they've got in that lineup. If you get all of them going at one time, that's pretty fearsome. And what we see is, you know, and this is typical of baseball, and you're not going to have everybody hit every weekend. But as long as you've got 7 guys in the mix, if somebody has an off weekend or 2 of them have, there's 5 others that can help you. I like the way they're constructed, you know, at the plate. And then it's just a matter of what happens, you know, who develops, and also, you know, existing pitchers that, you know, what's going to happen with some of these guys. McIntyre, he was sick. A lot of people didn't understand why he came out as early as he did. I don't think they understood that he'd been sick all week. I wasn't even sure he was going to pitch. But then you had that issue, you know, with Dylan Carter pitching with that 9-run lead in Game 1 on Friday. A lot of fans are mad about that. Well, you could have had him, you know, available in Game 2 if he didn't pitch Game 1. But as DVA said, you got to win the first game, then I'll worry about the second game. So everybody's always nitpicking, you know, or at least some fans are. But I would say right now, it's looking pretty good. The thing you look at, though, is that end of the SEC schedule. You know, you got South Carolina and Vanderbilt, and you're just like, whoa. But that's how you finish up. So we'll see how it goes.
Mike, I want to get your thoughts a little bit on this basketball team and what's going on there. It seems like it's a ever-evolving, rotating door right now. What's your thoughts on Tremont Mark? Is he the kid from Houston? Have you seen him play a lot? And then how do you like the way this Arkansas basketball roster is starting to shape up?
Well, he's a big guard. That's all I know. Don't remember a lot. I didn't watch a lot of teams other than Arkansas, but I liked what he had to say. He likes the way Musselman develops big guards. I think they need somebody like that. I like the fact that you've got an incoming true point guard, and they brought in a point guard from Washington out of the portal. So now you got two guys out there that can run the point, which I get it that Anthony Black technically is a point guard, but a lot of times, you're dealing with if that's your guy and you don't have anybody else that's really a point guard, that's an issue. So now you got two. And we don't know if they're finished yet in the portal. So far, you have two incoming freshmen and two guys out of the portal, and you have four that we know are not coming back. So that evens out. So what happens with I think there's possibly four others that could leave, which could mean we either see four guys come in the portal, 3, 2, or 1. So there's still kind of a mystery of what's going on out there as Musselman continues to wheel and deal. I mean, does Mekhi Mitchell stay? Is there still another big out there that they're going after? We know that another guard is coming in or has come in. So what does that mean? Does that mean Devo's gone? I mean, just a lot of questions.
What about Black? I mean, I see photos of him at the softball game with Muss, and he's a celebrity there. He's signing all the autographs, and I mean, you see some folks on Twitter that act like they've got inside sources that think he might be staying. I think that would be crazy if he did stay. I don't see how you could be a potential top 10 pick in the draft and decide to stay in this day and age. Like, selfishly, we'd love to watch him play for Arkansas another year. I just don't buy that that's what's going to happen.
I think if you polled most of us, they would. I don't know anybody in the Hog media that has told me they thought he's coming back. This, like you say, is mostly coming from online people. It's not traditional Razorback media. Maybe a students on campus that have claimed to have talked to him or whatever. I think when he went in front of those kids and made that big speech, and they all just fawned all over him, and this is great, this is wonderful, he's a big hero. It's fueled this speculation. Well, man, he may be having second thoughts about this. He might want to come back. And I'm not saying he won't, but I don't think he will. And I don't know anybody in the Hog media that's covered the basketball team this whole year that believes he's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, with these kids, you saw Sheway coming back. I don't know that he's projected as high, but as Black. But Black still has some parts of his game to work on. And if the money's right in this NIL deal, I don't think it's that crazy. That outrageous to have kids stay in school an extra year. And if you're making $500,000 in this NIL deal, and the truth is, he's not going, when he goes to the NBA as a lottery pick, whatever, he's going to play, but he's not going to play any significant minutes. They're not going to be a playoff team. He's still 4 years away. That's like with Nick Smith. Man, that dude's 3 or 4. Can he play in the NBA? Absolutely. But the dude needs it. Nick Smith could have definitely needed another year of college basketball. And Anthony needs to work on his shot. I mean, there's some weaknesses in his game. He's still a baby. But Mike, I'm with you. When you're a lottery pick, I think you're supposed to go. I just don't know what the NIL money's like. What does it equal out to?
Sure. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's impossible. I could see where it would happen. I wouldn't just faint if he made that announcement.
Right.
I just don't expect it. Now, the guy you're not sure about is Walsh. I mean, Walsh to me was a guy definitely coming back, but he hasn't said anything. And I'm hearing all this stuff behind the scenes. The most of the speculation is he's going to test the waters of the draft. But I've talked to a couple of people now that think he might transfer. So I don't know what's going on with him. That's very strange that he hasn't indicated one way or another at this point. Because when the season was over, I thought he would definitely be a guy coming back.
I thought he improved the most. That you look at some of the players kind of talk about hitting that freshman wall or whatever, but the last 10 games, I thought Jordan Walsh was really coming on. I was excited to see his growth, yeah.
And he may have gotten word, hey, we're going to take another look at you, come and work out in front of us. your stock could go up. I'm just not sure. I'm hearing too many different things about what's going on with him. So, but all we know is right now he's one of those guys that hasn't said anything.
The thing that weirdly stood out is, the Mitchell twins were a package deal. 2 Maryland, 2 Rhode Island, and then 2 Arkansas. It doesn't look like they're a package deal any longer, which I guess it's just a matter of accepting the reality of the situation. Makai is just a better all-around, more well-rounded player, and they can't be a package deal if one of them's going to stay and one of them is now in the transfer portal.
Yeah, Mikhail was more of a defensive player. Makai has shown ability to score. They may feel like, we saw a hesitation with him sometimes that we didn't understand, because when he decides to spin and go for the this guy can score. And he just sometimes seemed to back down, lack confidence. So maybe Muss has said, hey, work on that in the off season, you'll be fine. Whereas he didn't feel like he got the kind what surprised me was Jalen Graham. All I heard all season long was he just doesn't play defense. Muss is mad at him. He doesn't play defense.
And he's coming back, yeah.
And now he's coming back, and all of a sudden everybody's talking about how great he was. Well, I'm not going to badmouth the guy. He had some game. He can score. But, again, there must be something there where they feel like they can bring him around defensively. But that was a little bit of a surprise to me. I would have thought he would be one of the ones transferring or whatever.
Mike, did you watch any of the Masters at all?
I didn't.
Yeah.
We had a guy that had money on one of those guys, and he was just sweating it out, and the guy didn't end up winning.
Oh.
But, I think he could have won $1,500 if, I can't remember who it was. Who was the guy that, I don't know.
Yeah,
Did Rahm win?
Rahm won.
I think he had money on Koepka, and at one time he had the lead, and then he didn't.
Koepka pulled Greg Norman.
Yeah. So I was kind of hearing that, not necessarily watching it because I had other stuff that I was working on. But, the Masters is a big deal. It always will be a big deal. But, I've always been a British Open guy. I can't tell you why, especially when they play at St. Andrews. I am so fascinated with that golf course. I would love to see it. It's the oldest golf course in the world. Golf was invented on that property, on that land. And, there's a bridge there that's like 600, 700, 800 years old that Arnold Palmer and all these guys always pose for a picture on when they play their last round there. The road hole, it's number 17, you tee off over a building. You can't even see where your ball goes. It's just crazy the way that golf course is. But golf literally was invented on that land.
I didn't know that if you were a golf fan or not. I thought maybe you might be like me. There's only so many hours in the day. I'm a parent at the same time. I have a little trouble keeping up with quite honestly, the sports that I'm not involved with on a day-by-day basis. I don't watch a ton of Major League Baseball, especially this time of the year. I can't keep up with the NBA. I can't keep up with all of that because I'm so focused on everything going on at Arkansas, especially baseball and women's basketball and football. You're for someone like you, Mike. You've got to be so hyper-focused on the Razorbacks. Is it difficult ever to try to take your eye off of that and watch or pay a lot of attention to something like a Masters weekend or the NBA playoffs?
No, I watch very little professional sports. Again, golf, I'm a Tiger guy. If Tiger's doing something, I'm going to watch him. Maybe Phil, people that all these new guys, I don't pay any attention to them. The British Open, when it's at St. Andrews, I'll always watch it just because I love that golf course. Mostly I don't. I stopped being this is crazy, Phil, but I stopped being a Major League Baseball fan when Ted Williams retired. That was 1960. I was 12 years old. I loved that guy. I just loved him. And when he wasn't playing anymore, I just went, I don't care. So I'm not an MLB person. I've never watched the NBA. Pro football, I kind of like Mahomes. I don't know why. I've just always liked the guy. So I watch Kansas City. I used to be a Cowboys fan. Jerry Jones drives me crazy with the stuff he does. So I don't pay much attention to them anymore. So I'm with you. I'm so consumed with most of this stuff that when I go home at the end of the day, I'm watching cowboy movies and stuff, not sports.
Right. Yeah, you and I ought to have a talk off the air about Ted Williams at some point. I wrote a one-man play about Ted Williams for a big high school project. I still have the script somewhere around here. So I'm a huge Ted Williams fan. So you and I can get to that at some point.
The guy supposedly had 20/10 vision, and they claim that he could see the stitches on the baseball when it was in flight coming toward home plate. He could see the individual stitches. That sounds nuts to me. But he hit 406, and nobody's done it since. That's been over 60 years ago. Nobody's hit 400 since. I mean, he was amazing. Yeah. 344 career average. Are you kidding me?
He could have played in any era. And, of course, he lost mostly parts of 5 years because he was a fighter pilot. Hey, before we let you go, you got the spring, the red-white game on Saturday. I mean, what's top of mind for you watching the spring game on Saturday? And again, we don't know what sort of form it's going to take.
And Phil, did they scrimmage last Saturday too?
I think it was more of it wasn't like a tackle scrimmage though.
Okay.
No, it was more of an 11-on-11 sort of push people around type thing. What I still haven't seen, I've only heard them talk about this. I have not seen, I think I mentioned this last week, I've not seen KJ take a snap under center and do the play action roll out pass stuff. Mm-hmm. They talked about the exchanges with running backs and how they got to make that work. And that's part of what Enos is bringing in. I think what Enos is doing is he's sort of going to install what he wants, but he's smart enough to know you can't just reinvent KJ right now. So they're letting him do what he's been doing and then slowly introduce some new stuff into that. But maybe how much of that we see is how well it goes. But that's one of the things I want to see. I want to see if they do any of that on Saturday because I haven't seen it.
Hey, Mike, thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts.